Hi, you're listening to Chris Hall, director of the animated film Teenage Wasteland. I decided because people constantly ask me what made me want to do animation to just record a 4-part series explaining it all, starting with my opinion of the animation world as we know it now, up to what my current film is about. So I thought I'd start off venting all my frustration of the current animation world dominated by Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. Now don't get me wrong, there are some Disney films that I've enjoyed in my life, especially when I was young, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I enjoyed The Incredibles because it had a good story, it was funny, and it was well animated. But for the most part, they just turn out the same garbage all the time. And to me, it gets old. Plot seems to be dead in these things. It all revolves around some unlikely hero going on some ridiculous quest to save someone. And of course, this character, who's the unlikely hero, is usually a dog. You have films like Bolt and Beverly Hills Chihuahua, and I'm sure 20 others where it all revolves around a dog on an unlikely quest as an unlikely hero to save an animal. And I mean, I know these films are made for children, but think about it, parents go with their kids. So films like Yellow Submarine, which animated kids would go see, was put jokes in that could be understood by adults only. They put in a lot of puns. There's the biblical reference to the Philistines. You've got a lot of just references to things that intelligent people would understand. But anymore, it's just fart jokes. I mean, you have Shrek where they're like, it's for grown-ups, because it's bodily humor. So they try to attract people with that. And they just seem to believe anymore that animation's solely for children. And if it's not for children, it's just for revenue's sake, where I saw an article in a newspaper, and plots are doing bad. No one cares about the plot anymore. They think the movies are bad, so they stop going. So their solution was to put it in 3D. Now, it's not going to attract more people. The same amount of people are going to put up with the awful storylines. But if you have $3 added to whatever the price ticket is, or the ticket price, I'm sorry, it'll make it look like more people are actually paying attention to what's going on. Michael Eisner, the former head of a certain company that uses a mouse as its little symbol, once said that Disney's not even about art anymore. Oops, I just said it. Sue me. So, it's about money. And that's when you start getting into people who don't care about what they make anymore. So you have the problem of there's no plot anymore. You also have the fact that in the old days you had people who would do voice acting. That was what they were paid for. Now it's just, let's get the biggest celebrity we can find, pay them an ungodly amount, which of course drives the price of the ticket up, so it once again makes it look like more people are coming. Because people respond to actors. They don't care about acting. They can be the worst actor, but if they're famous, yes, people will go see it. And on top of it all, you have this horrible thing with style now. Now, don't get me wrong, my film's being animated on the computer, but I still like the look of 2D animation. I mean, 3D is nice once in a while. It looked great for The Incredibles. It looked great for Finding Nemo, because flat fish would look terrible for 2 hours. But I mean, come on, when you're like digitally rendering a dog so that their hair looks realistic, it's got nothing to do with the story. They just try to make it shiny, I guess, so you get distracted. And now everyone does it. I mean, except for the film they're coming out with now, I think Disney's just abandoned 2D altogether. I don't think DreamWorks has ever done one. And, you know, there's the nostalgia of seeing a flat character against a pseudo 3D background. So it's all really depressing. On top of it all, they don't even make that many. It seems like when you think about it, animation is dead because they put out a couple a year. They're usually the same movie. I mean, when one comes out, a Disney film comes out about animals going to the jungle, then DreamWorks releases the same thing but changes the storyline a little, but has the same exact animals just with different famous people backing them. You also have the stupidity of the fact that Walt Disney's now celebrating that they finally have a black woman as a main character. It's only taken them 70 years, so I guess we should clap them on, give them a round of applause for finally ending the racist streak of having a non-blackface character. Now you're probably wondering, why does this guy do animation if he hates it all? Well, I have one hero in the world. I guess two. The people who made Yellow Submarine did a wonderful job. It's a wonderful film, and I love it. But my hero, the guy I look up to, is Ralph Bakshi. And seeing how you're probably about the same age as me, you who are listening right now, you have no idea who he is, which makes me sad. He really just looked at the thing of animation and said he can't do kid stuff anymore. It drove him crazy, so he decided he would make it for adults. So you have Fritz the Cat, which is hilarious. I mean, people are always, whenever they hear about it, like, that's offensive, cats doing adult things. But it isn't, because I guess Walt Disney prepared us for this, but Ralph Bakshi showed it's not for kids. Anyone can do it. It's a style, not a genre. I mean, you have Heavy Traffic, which to me is one of his greatest films. The look is, you have realistic looking main characters, and then everyone else is like caricatures of New York people, and it lends great to style. You get I don't know, I can't think of the word right now. I guess it alternates between realistic and cartoony, which is cool. Also, he didn't just stick to one type backgrounds. I mean, all the Disney films, they all have hand-painted, or now, of course, it's all computer-rendered. But he would change it. He would have, hand-painted by very good artists. Or he'd have photographs like in Heavy Traffic. Or sometimes he'd have just video footage in the background. So, it was Ralph Bakshi's 1978 Lord of the Rings that inspired me to get into animating. Which brings me to the last part of this. I am doing an animated film now, and it's taken me 4 years to be able to really animate well, because everything up to this point has been garbage. And with that, I now end part 1.